Sometime early-ish in the 20th century, my maternal grandmother's four brothers left their home in the Isle of Man to go and find work in Canada, and they never went back to live there again. My poem, Island Leaving, which Kimwei set to music, imagines that event from my grandmother's perspective. I now find myself, because of the pandemic, separated from my youngest son, who lives with his family in Australia, including a little girl born 2 months ago who I've never met. We don't know when we can be together again. But thankfully, at least we have screens, which is more than my grandmother had.
The sun was at its jauntiest that second day of May, when all my brothers took to sea and the carrier sailed away. But rain was in my marrow bone and rain was in my eyes, when to the land of herring gulls they tossed their brief goodbyes. The sun was at its merriest as the steamer left the quay for a country 7 days away, a land I'd never see. And the fog was at my shoulder, and the fog was in my head, for you must stay and we must leave, is what my brothers said. You must stay and tend the fire and nurse our mother dear, and we will look for labour 1,000 miles from here. And you must stay and pluck the fowl, and you must bake the bread, and you must wash the cotton sheets to make our mother's bed. And we will make our fortunes and hope to find a wife. This island doesn't need us now, we'll start another life. But the cold was in my bosom, and the cold was on my skin. To think they would abandon me, their closest, kindest kin. And rain was in my gullet, and rain was in my blood, for all the men I'd loved the most, they left me where I stood. And all the men I'd loved the most refused to understand. A woman wants to know the world as much as any man. And all the brothers that I'd lost would die before they'd see that a narrow life of duty isn't any life for me.